What is the best way to avoid conflicts during Thanksgiving? My way was moving to another continent, moving to another state. And guess what? Didn't work. Seeing Zooms and communication and cell phones is not good enough. You, Elba?
Okay, my way is to not be in the reunions, but you cannot avoid it.
So you cannot avoid it. So today we have a different show. Hi, how you doing, guys? My name is Susan Ibitz. I'm a human behavior hacker. Some people hack computers, I hack humans. And thank God I have laryngitis, so I cannot go anywhere. I can be watching other people eating turkey, being watching Netflix. Best Thanksgiving ever. Elba?
Hi, everyone. My name is Elba Uribe. I'm a human behavior hacker too, and I am the CEO of Latin America. And yes, I need to spend time with people, but I'm going to enjoy it and make it simple.
So sorry. And to talk about how to better communicate and deal with complicated people and family members, we bring a special guest, Susan Yang. Thank you very much for being with us. And let's go to actionable tips that you can use during this long weekend and maybe for Christmas and New Year.
Let's go for it.
And as we says, the only way to survive holidays, specifically Thanksgiving, after so many months not to see your relative and friends, is to bring profilers and the expert PR, former journalist and communication. Susan Yang, thank you very much for helping us to save Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Susan. And yeah, sometimes we do need to save ourselves, save the holiday, save mankind. So yeah, the holiday can be bumpy sometimes. Sometimes we know that going in, sometimes we don't. So just as a communications expert and a PR person and how to get along with other people, play nicely in the sandbox, here we go.
One of the things that I love about you that maybe people don't know is that you're a former journalist. So you know how to sell the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really in the delivery and the mindset and having that confidence. Not being arrogant, but just, having the confidence to be able to know that you belong there and that you are enough. And so oftentimes we get caught up with all the bullshit crap of, growing up and the stories and the dynamics of family and relationships and all these, weirdo conversations. So, it's just really, being yourself, but knowing that there's no winner or loser in any conversation, that we're just going in there saying, hey, let's everybody walk away feeling like really good about this.
You want to be right or you want to eat turkey? This is my prerogative this Thanksgiving. Yes. You want to be right or you want to eat turkey? By the way, pick up your bottles. Today, this week is not for that. So you made a list and we love the list. And when we saw it with Elle, I'm like, okay, we're going to do this show anyway. We need to bring Sue. She's a badass. She knows the communication. We're going to do the back end. So you're the lead, you leading. You has been 15 points list. For the ones who doesn't know, we're going to put the link below so you can subscribe to Sue's newsletter and receive information and read the complete list about things to do to survive holidays in general. But in this case, we're going to put it in Thanksgiving. Why don't you lead with the first one and we follow?
Yeah. Yep. The first tip, and I'm going to share 10 of them. Okay. So, and you might want, I talk fast, so you might want to just, if you're watching, just scribble down some notes, because I'm going to be dropping some serious badass gems here. So first one is that remember that not every comment or question requires an answer. So people get really, put off by silence. It's awkward. So when somebody says something like, there's some weird, off color remark or comment, just smile and stop. And not everything requires an answer. Words, wield power, but silence is much more powerful than our words.
And we have a behavioral tip with that. You go first, Elba, because I see you like leaning on, like, I have that one. I have done. How you follow Sue advice with something in behavior and body.
Yes, I think, like you said, so it's like, just smile, look the person, and that's it. And just move around, look to another place. Don't engage with that. I think, and you put it in a really good way in your article, because you said, close your mouth. And yes, and sometimes the silence and a smile, it will be better to answer. Because why you need to be in a conflict thing if you are having a good time with your family? So just smile, look the person, smile, and then just turn around. That's it. Don't go deep.
Even is an hormonal reaction. When you smile, elevate oxytocin, not only in the person who smiled, but the person who received the smile. So if you put your hands together like a praying in church and lean your head and smile authentically, and the way I remember that I gave this tip in your group, the best way to smile is not to look fake. Put the tip of the tongue on the top of your palate. Everybody do it together. Like,
okay, let's do it.
It looked less awkward. So smile, tilt your head, put your hands together. And if they keep waiting for an answer, says, okay, tell me more about it.
And that's it. Oh, and by the way, try to do, like you said, Susan, a really good smile. But where we can see that you are really smiling, in your eyes. So it's not your mouth. Just pay attention to your eyes. So do the tip, make the tip.
Love it. Yeah, that's a great reminder to smile with your eyes. That's where, my son would smile like this. And we're like, that's not like a smile. Now he's 27. He's gotten away from that, but he's still like got this weird goofball smile. We're like, no, Danny, smile with your eyes.
Yes.
And that'll just relax through the rest of your face.
Well, he just passed the bar to be a lawyer, so he's going to need to manage that really careful. So congrats.
We're working on him.
It's always good to have a lawyer in the family, a lawyer, an accountant, and a doctor.
And a doctor, yes.
Not in that order.
That's word. I'm losing my rings. So yeah, I love that. Let's go with the next tip.
And what's interesting, the next tip is really dovetails, kind of springs off of what we just talked about. Because even though you want to say, silence and stay in quiet and not get into a conversation with somebody who has like, we're living in weirdo times here, politics and gender and money and all of this, all the sensitive issues and everything, that here's a phrase, 3 words that will dead end any conversation without getting into an argument or a conflict or a debate or anything. And you can use this at home and at work. Okay. It works beautifully. I love this. Isn't that interesting? So when Uncle Joe says something about the president or the other president or the economy or some women or whatever they're going to say at the table, and you just say, isn't that interesting? You smile, you stop, and that's it. It's a verbal dead end. Isn't that interesting? You can't answer it.
No.
But you're not saying anything either.
If you come up, maybe we're going to give people bad advice, but when we need to prepare somebody for court, then I would say it's easy to negotiate with a hostage taker than when you're family. I prefer a hostage taking situation than negotiate with my family, with my niece and nephews or my brothers. Like, everybody's Italian, so Susan, you're from New York or Brooklyn, no?
Yeah, Brooklyn, yeah.
So it's a tough one. It says, Isn't that interesting? I would say, why? Do you know?
Come on, don't ruin this.
No, you know what? What is the better way to contrast everything? The word why. Why is the open hell for anything? So one of the advice we always give, be ready when somebody is a smart ass on the room, like I was trying to be, and prepare at least 2 or 3 ways to get away with the why. So I love that you put that, because like, okay, you always have somebody to try to be the cocky in the room, no, Sue?
Yep.
Yes.
It's usually me, probably you, Susan, right?
Oh, wait, that's the reason why we like each other.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? And I says, why? What is your advice on that, on communication wise?
I would just come back with,
Smile.
It's just interesting. Yeah, it's just interesting. No reason.
I just think it's interesting, and that's it.
Yeah, you just there's nothing. There's nowhere to go.
No,
you paint yourself into a corner. That's it.
when people says why and says, well, you tell me what do you think that that why isn't interesting. Just go back to the ball.
Yep. I would just, again, come back with something like, I don't feel like talking about this. This is like holiday. Let's go, hey, Tom, how about that? You went on vacation last week. Just try to, we call it in PR, in news interviews, we call it bridging and guiding. We're not saying, hey, shut the hell up. We don't want to talk about that. Can't you get it? We're not looking for a fight or an argument or a debate, but just say we're just bridging and guiding the conversation, gently moving it towards what we want to talk about, which is something lighter and fun and interesting.
If you have a bully, emotional bully in your family, always trying to have these conversations when you know that can get complicated in front of witness. Bullies and people who are a suck of energy or the one who wanted to be the smart on the room, they try to behave themselves when in front of others. So if you know who are your people, who's going to be on the table. And as soon as you find it, try not to have a one-on-one, or at least be near someone so you can reach to someone like, hey, Uncle Tom is saying this. Come on, let's see what is your opinion. So when you bring another person, the bully or the cocky one or the one who always want to look like the most interesting or intelligent person in the room, get lower. That is a way to get the person on place and not to drive her crazy. Guys, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with it, because it's like, I'm going to point this, Sue, because I read your article and it says it's better to communicate with your coworkers than with your family. So I think it's a great thing to do, because if you put someone else inside the conversation, it's going to be better, because the bully or that person, it's going to feel like they don't have the power over you. So it's going to be great to make like a group conversation so everyone can talk.
I love that it changes the dynamic. You're just pulling in another personality, another body, another conversation, another mouthpiece, whatever.
Yeah.
And I like how you say, like, deviating to another thing. So if the person doesn't get that is pissing your balls and getting in your nerves and anybody else, and decide to come back, they're going to look worse. So if they don't get the message, we always says, let the people talk so they can put their food in their mouth. Is the best way to let somebody hang in themselves. Let them talk.
That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Love it.
Sue, what is the next advice? I have it in my other monitor.
Yep. So tip number 3 is to mingle with the kids, because this doesn't happen with the kids, right? Typically, hang out with the kids. It just brings like a little bit of levity. You might need a glass of wine. I'm not saying get trashed, but just a glass of wine. Yeah. But hang out with the kids. It just lightens everything up. I mean, they're fun. They just come in like to have fun. Get on the ground, play with the trucks, play with the toys, play with the dolls, ask them for a funny joke, tell them something, just do something a little offbeat.
I don't have kids, but something that I notice at every party is they do the most inappropriate questions. They do the most inappropriate comments. And sometimes, like, Uncle Tom, you're an asshole. And they say something that you want to say, but they say it for you. And because they're kids, they're not punishable. So kids are great.
Yep. Yes. You know what? I agree with this. And it's so fun, because sometimes we are in a meeting where with our family and we don't pay attention to the kids, and they're making noise and they are like doing things like we're like, no, stop it. But no, you need to incorporate them with you, with this reunion, because this is about everyone, not just about the adults. It's about everyone. And when the kids see that you are incorporating them to this meeting, to this celebration, they feel like they can be part of it. And that's what we want. To them, they can be part of their family too, because they are kids. Yeah, yes, but they are part too.
So how much you use your kids to get away with family gatherings?
Well, my kids are now adulting, so yeah, they're 29 and 27. So it's changed a lot, but as much as it changes, it doesn't, because I still see them as like 11 and 9. So over time there's been things where we just have to insert them. into certain situations and say, oh, Stephanie doesn't feel well now, or Stephanie, we need to go, or Stephanie just said something really funny, and just kind of deflect it a little bit. But there, I think just in our whole extended family, we just grew up with like being from, like we said, from the East Coast. It's just everyone talks fast and moves fast, and it's like a one-line comedy show, like, just everyone, whoever talks the loudest and the fastest with one little soundbite or one little nugget has the floor, and everybody's like really funny. And so that's how all the kids, their cousins and everybody grew up. And so, my daughter, I remember, said to me once, how'd you guys get so funny? I'm like, this is how it is. If you don't talk loud enough and in a soundbite, like in a snappy little, 7 or 8 words, you're not going to get heard. That's the way it is. So I think our family's a little bit off the charts there.
There are geographical differences, even though maybe you have been born and raised on the same place that all the family. In my case, I left my family when I was 17. And I remember coming back and even having problems to communicate with my family because I do understood and they didn't. They start talking about things that are general from the geographic, either from another country or you're coming from another state. The people in Chicago is not the same the people in LA. We see worlds completely different, like in New York. New York, everybody run. In Chicago, everybody take a pause. So if you are the person who is outside, I think it's easy for you to mentally prepare when you're going on the fly or you're driving and like, okay, I'm the one who grew up. I'm the one who changed. So the best way to address that is like, well, in Chicago, we're doing differently, but let me know how you do it here. And it's a way to make aware the other person that you are different. And it's not that you're trying to piss in their balls. If I'm sure I'm going with your family suit to Brooklyn, they're going to walk all over me.
Not another pussycats, I'm telling you. They just come off as being like, they're going to steamroll right past you. But it's like, no. All good. I think it's really just like what we do here right now, just letting the conversation unfold and kind of riff off of each other and, being respectful of that and just following the conversation and letting it be natural and not just worrying about, well, they're this way and I'm that way. And they pause and we talk fast. And it's just like, let's just act like people. Let's act, human to human, H to H.
The worst part is again, the energy drainer, the one who want to be the center of the attention and the one who want to be the most intelligent, or when you say something, they want to say something better. You cooking. Oh, I studied chef. I was studying culinary school. Like, what the heck are you doing? So, I hit my leg. I'm clumsy. I'm really sick today. So what is the next one?
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that being a topper. Yes. That's coming up.
I'm sorry.
Another one. Yes, I know.
Yeah. No, that's good. So another tip is to take a walk. Peel yourself off the couch after you've eaten this festive meal and stuffed yourself silly and all that. And take a walk. It's good to just rejuvenate, get like we talked about, the endorphins and the oxytocin, all this, just get the energy alive. Fresh air helps, obviously. Just walk around. And sometimes, and this is also another tip here, is that sometimes, just emptying the dishwasher or clearing the table or taking out the garbage with somebody or taking a walk, just really, some of those are the best conversations I've had with my cousins, my aunts and uncles. So, embrace that too. It doesn't just matter about, football on TV or whatever you're doing.
Yes. And I'm going to take this one first, because I have something here. It's when you're taking a walk, when you are not facing the person face to face and you are walking, it's better that you're going to communicate better. Why? Because the person feels relaxed. So because you are not facing. So that's why it happens the best conversations. Because if you want to someone tell you something, it's the best way that you are not facing them. Because they don't feel like you are looking or you are seeing what they are going to say. No, they feel like, okay, this is a safe path so I can talk.
Yeah, and I think that's why we have like those walking meetings, right?
Yes.
They're extremely productive. Another thing is when you're multitasking, your left and right brain is switching all the time. And if you're not tactile If you know the person in front of you is not tactile, is not kinetic, most visual people with small ears are visual, and most of the visuals are kinetic. So when you have somebody who want to argue about something, doing something with their hands, that is going to take control of the brain, and they're not going to be so focused on the argument and the talking. So that is a great one. When you mix a movement with your body, all your hands on the taking a walk, literally or supposedly, that is the best way to deviate from the point. Because, by the way, I don't know, you says the dishwasher, and you get the dishwasher like, oh my God, I love this cup. Where you had it? Do you know what auntie had it? So now you deviate using, we'll call it hostages. You have hostages on you that you use props to deviate from the conversation you have. So we call it props. Like they have magicians and things like that. Always have something in your hand. And so, I don't know if I mess it with the list, but we can talk later. A list of props that you can have and list of things to get away. So we can talk at the end in case they come up on the list and I mess it up. I don't want to.
You're good. No, you're good. Yeah. And so the next thing on the list is also just like what you're saying, you're saying keep some props handy. And what I'm saying is that have some neutral kind of lighthearted little nuggets. Maybe you heard some story about, something on the news, like a kid saved his mother, or, there's just something that's interesting. Like, hey, did you see that one about how the kid saved up all his M&Ms and then donated them to the, whatever, some goofball story, but just something neutral, that's easy, that's light. Keep a couple of those up your sleeve, and just be able to drop it in if there's like some awkward silence, or you want to just change the feel of the conversation. Those are always good to know. Oh, did you know Joey won the basketball tournament and got the trophy? Or, that, they're taking a trip to Aruba for the cheer team or something. Just something easy and light that everybody can kind of just focus on.
What are the topics that you advise to get away from? Either because you don't bring it, or you want to get away with somebody else bring it?
I want to make sure I understand topics to avoid. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because when you start looking for nuggets, I don't know, if I start talking about politics, sport, believe it or not, if you have people print in their skin the politics and the team, the sport, I found out that it's not a simple conversation. I used to think even the weather and vaccination, you cannot talk about that anymore.
Oh, no, you can't go there. No. Don't go there.
Don't go there. Yes.
Every time change. Like it used to be safe, even in the elevator, to talk about nice weather. And I look like a weather person. Why are you asking me? And if people like, really, why people talk about weather? Oh, talking at a party, it says, oh yeah, it's crazy of the weather. Like, oh yeah, you believe in the BS about global change. And like, here we go.
Yeah.
You're killing the polar bears.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting?
Drop
that bad boy, right? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I would totally stay away from, politics, gender, anything that could be divisive, because and people are just people that are looking for a fight are gonna find one. People that are gonna try to rattle the cage. It's like, don't give them that opportunity, because it's just like, let's just be easy. Let's just be fun and lighthearted, and not make, fun of people, and not make people feel uncomfortable. Just easy breezy. And that's what charisma is. That's the definition of charisma. It's just being easy, lighthearted, fun to get along with. You just attract people because that's how your style and your personality are. You don't have to go in there and say, hey, I'm lighthearted, I'm fun. That's how you are. That's kind of how you present yourself, your demeanor, your physical, your facial expression, your gestures, everything. Just people are attracted to you and want to be near you because there's something interesting and something magical that you exude in some unspoken way that attracts people to you. So go with that.
I was in a dinner with a client that is a lawyer. It's a really type A lawyer. And all the conversations on the table were high pay opinion. Like everybody was really polarized with all the opinions. And they start talking about sex, politics, absolutely everything that you shouldn't be talking. And because I work with some of them, and the different opinion, that was the worst part. One was extremely Republican, the other one extremely Democrat and polarized. And at one point, because I'm the profiler, they look at me and says, shoot, how I get away with this? And it come up in a second, and I want to know, Sue and Elva, if you'd agree. When they look at me and says, what do you think about it? I'm not that versed on the topic to have formed an opinion yet. I don't try to get polarized with topics, again, until I don't know profoundly. I think all of you have good points. And since I don't know what I'm talking about, I prefer not to talk, because you know what? Ignorance is a bliss. So when a bet is best informed, maybe next time we can talk. So in the meantime, I'm going to listen, because I'm learning a lot. I get away with that. And the lawyer, when we were putting the dishes on the dishwasher, she looked at me like, you're badass. You knew how to get away with that. And like, no, I was like, that was a good one, because nobody can come back to you, because ignorance is bliss. I don't know. I'm going to be listening. You make people keep talking and forget that they ask you, what is your opinion? You get away. So what do you think? People can use that tactic, politeness, demeanor yourself, like, I don't know anything, so my response or my answer is not going to give you anything, is not going to contribute anything. You're more intelligent. Keep talking and educating me, because people love to ego up.
Yeah. Yes. And I think, you know what? It's a great way, because you're playing dumb, because you don't want to go deep.
Yeah.
So play dumb. I think it's the best way. If you don't want to get inside to a controversial conversation, just play dumb and be the other people talk. Not you.
But yeah, I think just to add to that is, I love what Elba said, is just, hey, this is really interesting. I'm listening. Go on, continue, like that, and just a couple of words, and just, invite them back to the conversation, and just, you kind of take a pass.
So from the communication standpoint, you think that will be a good idea how to get away with that?
Yeah, I always I worked in government too. And just, and I think just being a news reporter from old school trained journalist was that my opinion didn't matter. And that served me well. And it served me in really detrimental personal ways too, because I didn't feel like I was worthy of an opinion. Like, what do I think? I don't know. I'm not supposed to insert my, opinion into the story. There was no 24/7 talking heads, with news and commentary back when I started. So, I was taught that my opinion didn't matter. And so, even now, what you can just say is that, hey, this is really interesting. And you're always on the fence. You're not taking anything like drastic, like one side, to another. You're not going like, oh, the Republicans this, the Democrats this, the gay people, the lesbian, whatever. It doesn't matter. The football players, the kneeling, you're not going anywhere near that. It's just, you're always on the fence, and that's okay. In conversations like this, I think it's good to, stand strong in your own power and your voice, but, at times it's often necessary to pull back.
What position you hold in politics?
Oh, I don't go there. No.
But in the government, you were a communicator, PR person?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought you meant like politics personally.
No, I'm sorry. What governance, politics, and that is the best way to learn how to get away from that. No matter what part you work, like, get away from that. So you was a PR person?
Yeah, what I did was I ran the governor's office of radio and television for Governor Christie Whitman in New Jersey. She's the 50th governor and the only woman governor still. But I knew her for about 10 years before, because when I started in radio, she was a county freeholder. She worked in county government. And so I used to, we called each other. I get sound bites, interview her, see her in person all the time. We knew each other. In fact, she sent my kids, signed books and saw them with pictures, when they were born and all this stuff. And so I know her for 35 years that I've been working. And so, I ran the governor's office of radio and TV, which was basically a news department for the governor at the state capitol. So I've seen a lot. I've interviewed everyone from homeless people to presidents. And what I've really learned is that my job is to be life's little observer. I watch people, and I'm just insatiably curious. And so it's served me well in what I do.
Definitely a good place to learn. And most of all, learn when somebody want to push you to make an opinion about something that you shouldn't be doing. Like, don't you agree? Don't you agree? That don't you agree is a way to bring you to be alive when you shouldn't be getting pulled to be alive. This is really a situation that you should give your opinion. Be polite, don't start a fight. But I think government and politics is the best training to learn to be neutral.
Exactly. Yep. So if you want to go on, continue on the list, right? Okay. So another tip is, and we touched on this before, is about being a topper. Don't be a topper. So if Uncle Grouch says, hey, I just got back from a week in Florida on vacation, and he's all, happy and bragging and proud, let him be. Don't come back and say, hey, I just won a trip to Bermuda and we were on the cruise for, a month for free. It's like, just let Uncle Grouch have his moment. He's happy about the trip to Florida. You don't have to top everything. Like, I'll give you a quick example. Years ago, I spoke at a Chamber of Commerce breakfast, and it was really, really nasty morning, the weather, right? We were talking about the weather earlier. And so I walk in and I'm thinking to myself, everyone's going to be talking. I got there early to set up everything. And so I as people are starting to come in, like 8:00, and the traffic's bad, the weather's bad. And I'm like, I know people are going to be bitching about the weather. So sure enough, people come in. Oh my gosh, my umbrella almost blew away. Oh my God, I almost had a flat tire. A guy came this close to hitting me on the fender on Route 1 in Edison, and oh my God, did you see that? There, Shadow Traffic said that there was a 5-car pileup, and every time it got worse and worse, and trying to top each other. It's like, just shut up. It's like, we get it. It's bad out, but we're here. We're safe. Everybody's dry. Nobody got in a fender bender or an accident. We're good. Let's just let that poison go. Get rid of that toxic crap, because oftentimes what happens is we wind up leaking poison. And so I always say, you want to be a magnet and attract people to you, but you don't want to be a crap magnet. So do not be a crap magnet. You don't want to be a topper with crap, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, the world's going to implode. Okay, well, how do you answer that? So just be aware of those kind of nuances and conversations.
And when somebody do it to you, says, wow, that is amazing. Tell me more.
Yep.
Yes. And you know what? It's like everyone, and we have been talking about this, Susan, everyone wants to be seen, heard, and understood. So I think it's a good way to let people talk. It's not your moment. Let them have their moment, because everyone have something to say. Just listen.
Go for it. We have another topic.
Yep. And again, this really does dovetail nicely and kind of feed off of this, is to avoid touchy subjects. And we talked about, politics and, gender and diversity and all of that stuff that divides us, but also be aware. And I'll just share this, my family's been affected by an eating disorder. And so there are sensitive subjects. We don't know what's going on in somebody else's house, in their relationship, in their marriage, about money, about their job security. We don't know, even if it's your brother, your cousin, your favorite uncle, whatever, aunt, whatever, neighbor, we don't know. So don't try to pretend to know. So as with the eating disorder thing, this is a really, really stressful time for people that are, have body image problems or challenges with food. And so, like my mom used to say, and we still say it now, look on your own plate, and this was before the eating disorder stuff came up in my family. So it's just, don't worry. Oh, you didn't eat enough, or, oh, you have leftovers, or, oh my gosh, you must have been starving. You ate everything on your plate, or save room for dessert. There's 3 apple pies and, 14 plates of brownies. Oh my gosh. It just, people are sensitive and we don't always know. So just be aware of that. That's my point on that.
And I was reading a statistic how much alcohol consumption, drug consumption, and antidepressants consumption increased during the pandemic. Like you said, the pandemic has changed a lot of things, and I'm born about myself talking about this. But like you said, you never know what's going on with other person. We can see in TikTok people who has been jumping and showing how happy they are. Half an hour later, they were declared dead. Mm-hmm. They killed themselves. So be polite, be nice. And if you see that somebody retract, one of the things that we says, when somebody doesn't feel safe, they even tend to cover the sternum the chest, the sternum of the abdomen. They close their arms and they try to make small themselves so nobody asks them. And if they're kids or adults, they stop moving. When you stop moving, it's because you don't want to be seen. So if you notice someone, no matter the gender, no matter the age, they stop moving and they try to be small and they suddenly the lips disappear, that is a person that is related or feel afraid to be the center of that conversation. If it's someone that you care, and like Susan says, if for any reason that topic show up and that person does any of those movements and you have a good relationship with that person, go and separate, says, hey, I'm going to give you a call tomorrow. Oh, since we all in town, you want to go for breakfast or you want to go for coffee? And says, how are you doing? It's anything in your life that is happening. Be open to that person to vent, not to give advice if they don't ask for it. But I think what you bring to on the last topic is can open the door to be kind with others. And when we are kind with others, we feel good about ourselves too. I know sounds selfish, but helping others bring satisfaction too. So something bad, you can make it right if you pay attention to what happened with the vote in those cases.
Yep.
Yes, and you know what? It's going back to the things that we have been taught. If you see something like this, it's like, just, you know what? Hey, just go for a walk. Or, you know what? I need help with the dishes. Or just help me with the table. Things like that. So you can separate the person and the person can feel good again.
Yeah. And there's some things that, sometimes it's just as simple as, if somebody's sitting next to you and there's, you're at the table, you just take their hand under the table, and they might, some people might be sensitive to that because we have somebody in my family with Asperger's. So, the tactile thing doesn't work for her. We have to ask her, can we hug, when we see her, is it okay to hug or kiss or, no, okay. And other times she's fine. So we have to know, but sometimes, you just feel like you want to take somebody's hand and that's okay. And just see how that might be a good way to show support.
Something that I learned from my own experience is when I need help or I need a moment or I'm going to a place that people don't know me, don't only ask for help, ask how you need to be helped. Yes. And if it says you don't want, I don't like to be touched. So when you says that is like bling, bling, okay. But if I'm going to a place, people are not going to know. And says, you know what, it's nothing personal. I don't like to be touched. I feel weird when people touch me and I live by myself on the forest. So I don't see a lot of people and I get overwhelmed. So it suddenly I lower my eyes. It's not that I'm not paying attention. Actually, I'm trying to concentrate on the words and not to be seeing everything. So it's not personal. I'm weird. Are we okay? And people tend to laugh and they tell you, oh, you know what? I don't like to eat broccoli. Like, but I love rock. And they start bringing things from their personal. So it's a good way to, if you show that you're not perfect, that you have your issues, how you need to be helped, how you need to be interact socially, the other person is going to tell you so many things about themselves because you break the ice. When I share, it sells an influence. It's called reciprocity. When you give me something, I feel kind of socially obliged to tell you something personal about me. And when we both share, we can connect in another way.
I love that, when we say you can open your mind and open your heart, and it doesn't always require, it's not always about words, but it's just about talking about what you need in that moment and how you can get along better with other people. And it's not, it's just easy, but you educate people about what you need and how you communicate and function. And you'll be surprised at what happens.
I love the word educate, and people think, well, you're talking. No, it's always good to, if you don't tell, nobody come with a manual, and we don't have a crystal ball.
I told my kids that when they were little. I told them as we're in the process of screwing up their lives, they're 10, 11, 12 years old, make a mistake. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know what? You were born naked. You weren't born with like a quick guide, like a sheet taped to your forehead. Like, okay, do this when they get caught, cheating at school, or they get into a fight with somebody on the playground, or somebody gets caught doing this or that, or you say something. It's like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Okay. I'm your mother, but I don't know what the fuck is going on here. So, you don't have a manual stapled to your forehead. So, we need to give each other a break.
Completely agree.
Yeah,
Elba?
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's true because sometimes we think the stereotypes, it's like I don't need to talk. I don't need to say what I feeling right now because that is my weakness. So I don't want people see my weakness. And it isn't about that. It's about that you can be honest and say the things because we don't have all the answers. We don't have everything. So, and we need to be like, okay, you know what? This is not my path. I don't know it. And this is the way I'm acting. So if the people are okay with it, it's okay. If there is not, they're going to tell you too. So don't make complex things. It's more simple.
So we have any other topics?
Yep. Yeah. Well, I know we're, just kind of keeping an eye on the clock here. So one of the things to do is to, another tip is to, if you're going to go into a place where, and, again, family dynamics, if there's somebody who you really like don't get along with or you can't stand, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to see this one here. And just write down, if you can, or think of 3 positive things about this person. And so it's just going to change your kind of like your vibe and your energy and your, central nervous system is like, they're good people. We just don't click. I don't have to be their best friend, but, they do have some, nice qualities and traits, like they're generous or they're funny or they're whatever, and just go with that instead of focusing on the crap. Look for something positive in every situation.
Elaine says, cite 3 good qualities of another guest who you dislike.
Yes, and you know what? And I like this part. Why? Because here in Latin America and our countries is like people say like, I don't like gossip, but you know what? It keeps me entertained. And it's like, no. This is a good way to avoid that kind of conversations because you don't need to talk you don't need to talk bad about someone. Just constant because everyone has 2 sides and you can learn from everyone. So I think it's a good thing to concentrate to see like, you know what, you have this person, maybe he's always on time, he's disciplined, things like that. So people can see like, yeah, they have the bad side because there's not good or bad, but they have the bad side, but they have a more things to be like to do. They do good.
Yeah, they do have some redeeming qualities. I might not notice them all the time because I'm focusing on all the junk. So just, again, mention, think about something that's nice about them that you might overlook sometimes.
And they are proud of too. When you talk about things the other person is proud, automatically they cannot put any bad things on you.
Love it. So another tip is, and we talked about, offering to help, taking out the garbage. Some of those best conversations and the deepest ones are around the garbage can, the dishwasher, clearing the dishes, helping put the kids in the car when, in the pajamas and stuff when it's late. So look for opportunities like that. And then the last one is really comes full circle and is really related back to work, is that this is a fodder. This is a feeding pipe, okay? A pipeline of content for your blog, for your videos, for your work. Pay attention to what the hell is going on there, okay? Because people say to me, I have writer's block. I'm like, there's no such thing as writer's block. Again, my antennas are always up. So, and what I talk about is, I'm a speaker and a communications coach and a storyteller. So I tie everything back to, and this is what I would encourage you to do, see what kind of conversation, say you're watching as Life's a Little Observer, Uncle Frank talking to cousin Tony about blah, 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 or one of the little kids says, some gem. Just jot it down either in a notebook or in your phone recorder or on your, notepad in your phone, and see if you can tie it and connect it back to something at work of your expertise. So mine's kind of easy because everybody communicates, whether you're at home or at work. So if I say, wow, they said, don't be a crap magnet. Wow, that's great. How can you not be a crap magnet? And I write a post about that. Here are 3 ways to be more positive in your communication. So you say, hey, I was at Thanksgiving and my 11-year-old niece said this gem, boom, don't be a crap magnet. She's smarter than she looks or something like that. And then say, all right, here are 3 tips. So how do you connect the dots back to your expertise? This is going to be the pipeline for your content, for your videos, for your reels, for your stories, for Instagram, for LinkedIn, whatever you're posting about. So pay attention to what's going on and then just make a quick note. A lot of the things won't be able to, connect back. But you want to have it very clear and connect the dots for your readers and your audience to say, hey, this is what happened and this is why it matters to you. That's what's important. So use this holiday and this festive season as a content pot and see what you can pull out of there.
I will say only one thing that we didn't touch yet, the gossip. Some people come to you to gossip about others only so you can talk bad about that person, and after that use it against you. You know who is the gossip. You know who is the vampire on the family of Ibitz among friends. Do not feel tempted to do that and follow. Not always reciprocity when we talk about that behavioral-wise need to be reciprocated. When it's bad things that can be risky, people only can hurt you with the information you give them. If the person come to you criticizing absolutely in the room and the food and everything else, be careful because they're going to do the same. You're not especially sharing that information with you. They're going to do the same. So be careful. If Aunt Betty bring her pecan pie and it's not where you can eat that BS, and she's proud of that, when somebody else it's like always, you're not lying. It's that always is crap, but you don't add anything. So do not exaggerate. Do not follow the gossip, because it's more than one that somebody's in the kitchen and suddenly like, see, did you say my pie is horrible? Like, you're not going to say, well, she say it and I follow. You cannot say that, because now everything explodes. Do not follow the gossip of toxic people. That is one of the things that I see blowing parties the most. Guys, last thought before we close.
Yes, you know what? I think this holidays is going to be like the new way to communicate and to be together, because we have been like 3 years with isolated and things. But just keep it simple. Keep it simple. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the things that you have in front of you. Enjoy the people that you have. So don't make arguments. Don't make disagreements. Just go with the flow. Talk with the people you have. You couldn't have it. So I think for these holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, just keep it simple and enjoy the day, because that's what you have.
So the closing is yours,
right? Yeah. I just say, and based on what Elba said, just every day, just be a person of excellence. And when you put your head down on the pillow at the end of the day, when you're going to sleep, it's just like, did I really do my best? And so, when you really do your best, you're not gossiping about Aunt Betty's lousy pie, and you're not worrying about the topping the trip, or you're not worried about the gossip and all the other junk. It's just, you just be yourself, be genuine, have a good intention, and plan to have a good time. Relax.
We wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. This is the holiday with more people driving, flying, taking trains, whatever. We haven't been around a lot of people in a long time. Some people haven't taken a plane in a long time. You have people who become agoraphobic, germophobic. You have a lot of people who develop fears that never happened before, or maybe they haven't been out of the apartment in 3 years. Then maybe they have some sickness, or they're afraid to get sick. Be nice with everybody around you. We hope the get together has been a different show, but everything that we can do to leave you better than an hour before when you jump on the show, we wish you. Guys, happy Thanksgiving. I look to see you forward. Enjoy this long weekend.
Bye.